Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barney Johnson. I'm a classical composer, and I'm reaching you here from Andernos-les-Bains, which is in the southwest of France, in the region near Bordeaux, of Bordeaux. And today is September 7th, and I'll make sure it's the 7th. The 7th of any month is always a good day for me. I love the number 7. However, I'm not feeling very optimistic right now, but I will do the best I can to stay chipper. So as you know, I moved to Andernos-les-Bains because my apartment, or maybe you don't know, but I'll tell you. I had to be out of my apartment in Paris by the end of August, and I had no desire to stay in Paris. I do not like Paris. And I'm looking for jobs, so I'm emailing my cover letter and resume to as many conservatories as possible, because in France there's a conservatory in every single town, and at this point it's beyond my control. I know I have an excellent cover letter and resume. I'm just sending this out to the conservatories. It doesn't matter if they don't have a position advertised or not. For me in music, the only way I've ever gotten a job is just this way. If you wait around for the job to appear, you'll be waiting around your whole entire life in music. One time I did get a job because I knew someone, which is reality is you have to know someone. And it's like some of these jobs, it's not like you're trying to be like a government minister and you're gonna get like all these side benefits. It's like really like these jobs are always super part-time, so it's like I'm beginning to feel like as musicians we need to create a new way, maybe not for us because it'll take time, but for the next generation, because it just should not be like this. And I'm not speaking as someone who has never been through a job search. This is my 5th or 6th like hardcore job search in life, okay? And each one sucks. It's never great. It's never great, and you bleed a lot. That's my problem, because the problem too is like when you're employed, it's really hard to look for work because you're so busy, and so then the spare time you have, you want to compose. It's the vicious circle. So then you're kind of pushed to the edge, and my issue is I just stopped teaching English. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Once my contracts are finished, I'm like, I'm not renewing this. I can't, my soul interfered. My mind said, continue, come on. You want a master fugue, you have more things you want to do at school. And then my soul put emergency brakes and just stopped. And my soul was speaking to me for quite some time. Certainly, since last June, so it's September 2022, so back in June 2021, so over a year ago, after my recital in Paris, that was it. My soul was saying something, and I felt this vacantness, something like vacant in me, and something like missing. And I didn't know. I just thought, okay, it's because it's still COVID, we're not fully free yet, or everyone's gone for the summer. And but my soul was speaking to me, and throughout the year it was speaking to me and saying, no, you need to compose, And I was always putting it on the back burner because I was in school. And finally it hit me, especially after I went to Amsterdam a couple of times, and I was like, oh my God, I feel way happier here, I feel way more comfortable, I feel at ease, I feel like I could actually live here, I could settle down here, given how expensive it is, it's probably not realistic. And I was like, why am I suffering in Paris? Why? Just so I can say I live in Paris? No, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I was ready to go away from school. I have enough schooling, okay? I already have a master's when I got here. I came here for a specific teacher who had studied with Narcis Bonet, and I will say I did need that. It was a very emergency state. I needed to learn harmony. I was not able to get in the US, and after a year and a half, because my teacher passed away, he had cancer, I think was done, to be honest. But I stuck around because I was enrolled in other programs. I wanted to get better at orchestration, that was really important, and I wanted to learn fugue. And so I stuck around, and I have grown immensely. But after my teacher passed away, there was also a hole in my heart. But I thought it was because my teacher was gone. Or I thought it was like, oh, I lost the center, because my first year in Paris was really bad. I felt very rejected. I felt very out of place. I felt really hostile energy. But I was very blind and young. I was like 29 or 30 at the time. So I was so determined because of that teacher. And that's what happens when you believe in a vision, right? When you believe in something, you can handle almost anything. But this year, now I will say the hostility has gotten a little bit better in Paris because I just know the cultural stuff a little bit more. I dress a little bit more in style, so I've kind of like kept it at bay, but still it's not, I do not like the environment there. But it got to the point, I was like, well, why am I here? Like, I'm just studying and teaching English in order so that I have time, I have enough free time that I can like do my classwork and so that I can like live, but I don't like teaching English. I don't intend to do this as a full-time career. And like these classes are interesting, but I had finished orchestration last year. So at the end of June 2021, right before the recital, I finished orchestration. I was done. I decided I'm not doing any more. I have enough. My other class I continued with counterpoint. Fugue, the teacher wasn't good, but I stuck with him because he was an excellent musician. But eventually what I realized is when you are with a bad teacher, they're not going to give you what they want or what you want. They're not going to give you what they know. And he held back. And the closer I got to the finish line, the more he held back. But I do have the credit, despite his obstinance, I will say he's a great teacher only because his obstinance forced me to get out of school. I was like, I'm not going to get anywhere further with this teacher, and that's what got me to end schooling forever. So for that reason, I do consider him in a way a master teacher. And then I had another teacher, a piano teacher, he missed half my lessons. And I was like running around from job to job, doing all like 4 or 5 part-time jobs. A number of them were actually, one of them, I'm suing the employer because he broke the contract and he did some illegal things. So I got wrapped up in some ugly stuff. And amidst all this, I was like, well, what's the point? Because I'm not composing. Now, I was composing a little bit here and there, but it was never the front and center. Because I had these legitimate deadlines at school and these legitimate jobs, that I had to produce for, I had to prepare for, I had to correct things for, I had to show up for. So composition was hard to fit in. And finally, after going to Amsterdam, I was like, you know what? It helped me see. It took some time. I was like, I can't do it. My soul finally intervened and said, no. It's just like steel bricks or like just steel shards of steel. I don't know, like these steel poles became fixed. And I said, no more. So then I made the decision to not renew anybody's contracts and to like put everything on the line to get a job teaching composition in France. Well, first I wanted to go to Amsterdam. But I did what I could from abroad. I even went there a couple of times, put some more money on the credit card because I got to go there, show my face. But things didn't work out, so my backup plan was France. And now I'm in a situation where I've invested so much time and money in something that may not work out. I will say it does not matter because I became a better businessman, shall we say, or I learned how to sell my skills a lot better. I learned how to survive better, so it was worth it. But now I'm at this crossroads where I'm in this kind of humble apartment here in Andernos-les-Bains, no problem there, by the beach, so I'm really happy. But it's looking more and more like I'm not going to arrive, as the French would say. French would say, je vais pas arriver. What that means is I'm not going to be successful. It is looking more and more like, for whatever reason, I'm not able to get a job. Most likely, it's because there's no openings. But in a country where there's a conservatory in every single town, to me, if I'm not going to get a job here, it's not really looking good for anywhere else in the world. Another reality is any open jobs that do come up, a lot of times there's people already that have their stake on it, They know someone. Another unfortunate reality is probably if they have to choose between a French person and, this random American they never met, they're going to go for the French person. despite the fact that I have more composition experience and more teaching experience than most people, most composers, certainly in France, even professionals. I have 20 years composition experience, and I've heard my works. I've rehearsed my works. I've even conducted some of my works. Those of you who were in my chamber pieces, I know there's at Walnut Hill, or I think I conducted at Walnut Hill, yeah. And I conducted my wind ensemble piece at SUNY Purchase. So I have real, like, hands-on experience. The only the real teacher as a composer, by the way, is hearing your works. Rehearsing your works, hearing the performance, and then the recording, of course, in that order. So I have that, and I've been teaching for 7 years. Most people don't have that. No, they really don't. And in France, composers aren't even allowed to compose until they've passed all these steps and proven that they know counterpoint and harmony and theory, and you have to be worthy to even write a note, have someone look at it. That's not the case in America. We can write from the beginning. Now, you do need some instrumental experience, so with how do you know what you're writing? So, long story short, I know I have an amazing set of experiences, and having both the freedom I had in America plus the rigor I got in France, which would not have been possible in America, I have a double whammy of like skills that are so precious and so beautiful, and I have done the best I can to market them. I don't see where I can improve. I've gotten other people to look at it. I see for myself that this is at a level, my marketability is at a higher level than I ever was able to do before. Now, I thought I knew how to do a cover letter resume, but this time around, it was different because this time I was doing it for music, and it was like, I need a job. I need a job. But the reality is I'm just not, I'm just not seeing much hope. So my plan is, I think today actually is going to be my last day actively working on it. I gave myself till mid-month, towards the 20th maybe of September, and then I'm going to have to start reverting to the next plan, which I don't fully know yet. But the ultimate next plan will be to go back to America, because I don't want to invest anymore in a country where my talent and skills are not valued or recognized, and may never be valued or recognized. That's the reality. It doesn't matter how long I stick it out. And the other danger too is that you become desperate. And I made a rule, I'm not becoming desperate, or I'm not going to become desperate. I just said that. If someone calls me up, well, I didn't give out my number. I was like, you know what? You're going to contact me by email. So everything is documented. It's really important in France. But if someone says, hey, we have a position to teach solfege, no. I'm at the point now where I'm not going to take a shitty job just to get my foot in the door. I do not need my foot in the door, okay? I have immense experience. I'm not taking a starting entry salary or some cheap salary just because this is France and I didn't do this concours, no. So with the reality that there's no jobs and the fact that my standards are so high, I do have to expect that I will be met with a failure. But failure is nothing to be ashamed about. It is what it is. Just to cite why I'm kind of more and more it's becoming like I just need to go back to America, because it's like in France for some reason, and I'm curious if other people who have lived in France, not just visited, can attest this. Just everything takes so long. Like just anything. Like I signed up for internet the other day because my apartment has an internet, and then like the password didn't work. Like it worked at first, and the next day it doesn't work. And then it's just everything I have to call, and then they're closed, and like I have to wait the next day. Like I just, everything is so long. And especially without like a job, like something that I love, like a teaching composition where I'm making an impact, I really don't see the point of staying and suffering under that. But that's a minor thing. So yeah, plan is I'm gonna, the most important thing is to finish my orchestra piece. I was actually thinking of an analogy so you understand how serious this is. If I don't finish this orchestra piece, and on top of that, I don't have a job, I'm going ballistic. I'm warning you right now, I'm going ballistic. Let me clarify, what does that mean, ballistic? This is France, very scared about these kind of things. Everyone is going to suffer until this orchestra piece is done. Okay, so what does that mean? I gotta get this orchestra piece done. Okay, because what I want, the one thing I want is no matter how, I would love to stay in France a little more, just a couple more years. Plus, I'm writing an opera, and it's in French, and it's inspired by my experiences in France. So I really would love to stay. I would love to see more opera. I really love the culture. Don't necessarily like the people in Paris, but I have to say, I really do like the culture. I think it's a really beautiful culture. The language is super beautiful. And now what I've started doing is writing only in French. Like when I write my diary, it's in French. When I write my notes and music, it's all in French. My thinking is clear when it's in French. When I speak, I don't like how I sound when I speak French, so gotta work on that. But my thinking is all in French now, my conscious thinking, not just like sporadically. When I curse, it's in French now. Ah, c'est pas possible! Because they don't really curse, but they express frustration. Like, oh, c'est n'importe quoi. Like that. I just naturally do it. So I would like to stay longer, but, at the end of the day, I gotta accept defeat if defeat is what happens, or occurs. And the one thing I want is when I go back on that plane, and first of all, I need to stay in France to get the money to afford the plane. So that's why I'm saying it's probably gonna take a year to save enough money to get a plane to go back to America. Plus, I would like to email some schools in anticipation of going to America to see if there's any work that would be waiting for me when I get back. But the one thing I want is when I'm on that plane and I'm going back to America, that I have my orchestra piece, Help Is on the Way, in my hand. Where is this baby? Where are you? N'importe quoi. Okay, no, you're right here. So, okay, so this is my orchestra piece, Help Is on the Way for orchestra. Okay, now this is the original version that I wrote back in America in Central Jersey, and I finished like in 2016, 2017 before I came to Paris, and now I'm revising it. So do you see it's like a cycle? So the reality is, another thing that upsets me, I hope I don't sound too negative, is I was already in debt, just like most Americans, when I came to Paris, because when I left San Francisco, because after grad school I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area. It was so expensive to live, so you get trapped. But I was like, I'm not going anywhere, kind of like now. And so I had to go back to Jersey. But in order to pay for that, I had to put things on credit card. I never was able to pay it off. I never had enough money to pay it off. And finally, when I got a full-time job, I had to save money so I could live in Paris. And of course, that blew for that money rather quickly. Composers aren't very great with money, I have to say. So I had a very significant amount of debt going into Paris. And now it's like I'm coming back to America with even more debt. So it's like, on the surface, it just looks like, well, how am I better off? How am I better off? I will say I did become a much better teacher. Much better teacher, way more organized. I understand how to lead a class, to deal with discipline, how to discourage bad behavior, how to incentivize good behavior, just how to calm down a class, like in France especially, it's really nice if you start class and you kind of talk to them, like as if we're in this together, and you give a prep plan, like what are we going to do here, what are we going to do here, and they really appreciate it. So there's a lot of things I learned, but in terms of composition career, I don't have anything to really show. Now I did have a recital in Paris. That's my one savior. Woo! I did a recital last June, but otherwise I'm like, this is why I had to get out of the cycle. I was like, I'm just accumulating knowledge, but I'm not like accumulating like well, yes, I'm getting some work experience teaching, but like, I'm not getting like more pieces. I'm not getting further down that route. So I had to sever the cord, shall we say. But the one thing I want is when I go back to America, no matter how shameful it is, I want the revised version of Help Is on the Way printed out and bound like this, maybe even with a gold binding. I just want it next to me on that plane. That's all I want. It's just like, no matter how, like, you know, lost I feel, because likely when I go back on that plane, I'm not going to have a job lined up either. It's just really not likely. So I'll probably have more debt than even now. So materially, I will be very in a bad place, you know. But the one thing I want is just this physically printed out and next to me as like my own personal testament for myself that despite all that, I have something powerful. And this piece is powerful. This piece is powerful, and this piece will be played after my death. Now, it better be played before my death. Let's don't get me wrong, okay? And I intend to die rather late, okay? At least after my 70s, I hope. Maybe upper 80s. Oh, no. That's too long. I digress. So this piece, I've decided, once and for all, no more job search. I'm giving up on the job search. I'm taking it's done. It's done. Okay? Now, if someone contacts me, great. I'm not going to say, no. But I'm not risking that at the end of the month, I have still no job and no completed piece. No. The one thing I want is this piece done. So,